well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The day I passed my gun safety course, I went hunting with my dad. Weekends in the woods with him were the best times I ever had. So when I hear some politician trying to take that freedom away, I stand my ground. I don't back down. I've got a gun that can feed my family. I've got one that protects my home. It's my right by the Constitution to keep and bear the arms I own. I'm a law-abiding, patriotic American to the bone, and I will defend it. The Second Amendment.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Speaking of Guns podcast, where we cover anything and everything related to guns, gear, concealed carry, and maybe even a little bit of politics thrown in from time to time. I'm your host, Tim Shields.
And I'm your other host, Janet Shields.
Well, this last week we've been a little busy. What have you been up to, Janet?
Well, during the week I really didn't have time to do a whole lot of gun-related stuff, but we had a concealed carry class yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Yes, and that was a lot of fun. We had a veteran from Vietnam in our class, and he was disabled. He was in a wheelchair, and he was really super nice, very knowledgeable. But the thing that really sticks out with me at the range was we have a lot of new shooters come through the class because we ask up front, what is your shooting experience? And 2 ladies came in to the range together who did not have any experience, and they both shot really, really good targets. And I asked each of them, well, how do you feel now after shooting? And the first lady said, that was exciting. So first time shooting, and we gave her a really, really good shooting experience. So hopefully she will continue her training.
It's funny sometimes how we have new shooters that come in and they are scared to death, and then after they're through, it's like, wow, that was actually fun.
Yes, and I think I mentioned this before in an earlier podcast, that you can see the change in their self-esteem. When they say, oh, I'm actually hitting the target, then they continue to improve. So that was what I did last week. What about you, Tim? Did you have anything to do other than the class?
Well, I've been working on this sound equipment, trying to get everything to work properly. Hopefully our sound quality is a little bit better this week, but I've also been trying to get this song out of my head.
What song is that?
This song.
We're on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet, 'cause the world is but a treat when you're on Easy Street, and we're breaking out the good champagne.
And where is that from?
Well, that's right. I forget. You don't watch The Walking Dead. That is a song that was on this last week's episode where the bad guy in the show has captured one of the good guys, and he's put him in an isolation room, and he's trying to break his spirit, by sleep deprivation, and they kept playing that song over and over and over again, and it by the end of the show they must have played it over a dozen times, and it kind of sticks with you when you hear it that many times in such a short amount of time. But
okay, I guess you just have to be a fan of the show to catch that reference.
I am a fan of the show because they have a lot of cool guns on the show, too. I'm surprised you're not a fan of the show just for the guns.
I'm not a fan of the zombie. Oh, I'm sorry, the walker.
Yeah, they're walkers, not zombies. They've never mentioned the word zombies on the show one time.
I did not know that, but the one episode I did watch, they refer to them as walkers.
Yeah, they're walkers.
Okay.
Also, we wanted to wish everybody a belated Happy Veterans Day, including the veteran that we had in our class yesterday. It's, we owe our veterans a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid.
We also want to thank our fathers, because Tim's father served in World War II. My father served 27 years in the National Guard. So for their service, we are both eternally grateful.
An interesting side note here is that your father was a firearms instructor in the National Guard,
He
which
was.
is kind of rubbed off on you, right?
It did.
My father, by profession, was a Finnish carpenter, and when he was in the service, they shipped him to Okinawa, and he was due to ship out to the front, but the people in charge, his lieutenant, his captains and people, they found out that he was a carpenter, so they had him building desks and filing cabinets and all kinds of other things for them. And they kept shuffling his paperwork to the bottom of the pile when they were, the bottom of the pile for the people to ship out to the front. And eventually they ran out of projects for him to do, so he was scheduled to ship out the next day and decided to go catch a movie that night. And they cut the movie off, like right in the middle of it. And he said they were all kind of upset about the movie getting shut off until they found out why. It turns out that they turned the movie off to make the announcement that the war was over.
Well, I think that would have been a good reason to turn the movie off.
I guess they understood after that.
Right.
And he didn't have to go to the front, and he came home safely, fortunately, so he could produce me later on. So that was kind of cool.
Well, for that, I owe him my gratitude as well. I love that story.
Oh, we missed this on the last show, but we wanted to say a special happy birthday to Mikhail Kalishnikov.
Happy birthday!
Mikhail Kalishnikov was born on November the 10th of 1919, and he was the inventor of the most popular rifle in the world, the AK-47.
He passed away just before Christmas in 2013, and he was largely hailed as a hero in his home country of Russia.
And globally as one of the best firearm inventors to ever live.
We also want to say congratulations to our president-elect, Donald J. Trump, on his hard-fought victory for the presidency. It was a tough campaign. At times, it was difficult to watch the media. It was hard to read about it, but it was a very hard-fought campaign on both sides. And personally, we both went back and forth on who we thought was going to win.
We did.
And, even Tuesday, watching the election results, it was for the first hour or so, it was still sort of up in the air. But in the end, the voters sent a loud and clear message in this election that our gun rights are not for sale.
Yeah, and despite the efforts of the gun control lobby, the Second Amendment prevailed. So thanks to all the gun owners for doing your part to elect the right person. Trump was the only choice available to us that ensured the protection of our gun rights. And now that the election is over, I think it's time for the other side to accept the outcome and for both sides to kind of come together and support the president. We're all Americans, and he's the president of the United States, not just the president of some of the people.
Agreed.
So let's go into our Firearms in the News segment, shall we?
It's time for Firearms in the News.
Okay, my first story for Firearms in the News comes to us from Bearing Arms. The headline is 5 Fast Gun Reforms President Trump Will Sign Into Law. Trump stunned the world, as you all know, on November the 8th with a commanding upset victory over the heavy favorite Democrat Hillary Clinton. And in addition to Trump's victory in the contest to be the 45th president of the United States, the National Rifle Association, their 5 million members, kind of helped retain control of the Senate, and the House also remains comfortably under the control of GOP. So what does that mean to us as gun owners? The NRA pumped money into Trump's election that more than any super PAC, and Trump has a reputation for standing by his allies. And here are the 5 fast gun law reforms that Trump and his Republican House and Senate can make. Number one is ending gun-free zones on military bases. Trump will have the authority to, executive authority to pass an executive order allowing the United States military to carry firearms on duty. Our domestic military bases and facilities have been the site of numerous terror attacks and mass shootings, and Trump can reverse that with a stroke of a pen. And he would also apparently have the authority to end firearms bans on other federal property. But there are so many laws and regulations that I don't want to make that claim prematurely, but he certainly will have that authority to do that. Number two is the national carry reciprocity. And there's a significant momentum towards establishing a national concealed carry reciprocity in all 50 states. Trump, working with his Republican-controlled House and Senate, should be able to get this passed into law within the first 90 days. There are 4 different bills to choose from in the House and Senate that pertains to carry reciprocity, and that'll be really good for people who travel a lot, who are concealed carriers.
Yes, they won't have to stop before they get to the state line and figure out what the next state laws are.
Exactly. Number 3 is legalizing silencers. Making a hearing safety device criminal was one of the dumbest things ever under the control of the administration of Franklin Roosevelt, and that's saying a lot. The Hearing Protection Act is already written, and it has co-sponsors. It should be passed within the first 60 days of Trump's administration, which is a blessing to high-volume shooters such as myself who would like to better protect our hearing. And I'm sure, they're going to be available in gun shops, just like going in and buying a gun. And I guess we'll have to go out and buy more guns that we can screw a can on to.
Say it ain't so.
Number 4 is the NICS background check reform. Gun control supporters have always wanted a universal background checks on gun purchases in order to create a de facto gun registry, and that's just not going to happen. What is going to happen is that Trump and the House and the Senate are probably going to work on legislation to close the gaping holes in the existing background check so that it's more effective, ensuring, a better and more accurate updating of prohibited persons. And this will likely run in conjunction with mental health reform to help both people in a crisis obtain the help they need and ensure that fears of losing their Second Amendment rights won't keep people from seeking help for a temporary but an important, mental crisis that they may be experiencing. And lastly, number 5 is he will be able to allow the importation of collectible and historical firearms. President Obama has kind of stymied the importation of historically significant firearms provided to allies after the Second World War and the Korean War through executive orders. The Collectible Firearms Protection Act will allow the reimportation of hundreds of thousands of M1 Garands, M1 carbines, and M1911 pistols. And those are basically the 5 laws that a Republican Congress and President Trump can pass within the first 90 to 180 days. They're certainly not all the laws that are being considered. It's just kind of the top 5.
Well, my firearms in the news comes from the Daily Mail, and this is talking about Kim Kardashian. Everybody knows who the Kardashians are, and the recording was made several months prior to its release, but Kim Kardashian is attempting to win over her sisters Khloe Kardashian and Kendall Jenner to help her support the gun control. And even before she became a victim of gun violence herself, this reality star, Kim Kardashian, was using her voice to do something about the problem, but not all of her sisters believed in speaking out. Kim was encouraging Kendall and Khloe to stand up against gun violence. In a new sneak peek of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim was promoting gun control. But her sister, Kendall, is too fearful of the repercussions of throwing her support behind such a cause. And her younger sibling